What's up, everybody? Have you ever heard the term MFDs? Well, today we're going to cover the MFD basics, what they do, and like how you can navigate them and how you can customize your cockpit to fit your needs. And what does MFD stand for? Multifunctional display. And they do carry over as long as you keep the same instance of your ship. So that's kind of important. But with that being said, without further ado, let's hop in the cockpit of my C8, get out to space so we're not taking up a hangar, and we'll begin the explanations. So before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any preferences that you'd like to share, and don't forget to subscribe if you like this content. But back to the main point why you're here. MFDs. What are they? How do they operate? How can you navigate them? Well, they're all the same, regardless of ship, regardless of whether it's an alien ship, crusader, fighter, big ship, little ship. It just all depends on how many you have and what they do. So, like, I'm in the C8, which is, generally considered a starter ship. It's got a lot of MFDs here, so you really shouldn't have to switch things around. Things like the Cuddy Black, they have like literally everything you need almost. Short of maybe one or two you might have to change. The Corsair, but some fighters only have 2 MFDs, so you have to make a choice on what you want to see. So let's just come over here, for example. This is the communications MFD. This here will have anybody that's on your list, whether online or not, any AI that are showing up. And obviously you see here, I apparently have a friend who's online who's 2,500 meters away. I highly doubt that's accurate. But you could hit refresh here on this one, and then it would refresh it. So this one here is good to, if you're kind of tracking somebody, and like you can hail individual ships from here as well. This function hasn't quite worked, but you can do your quantum jumping to them if that's indeed the case. So we flip over to here. Now I'm going to show you how to change all these around too as we go along. This is your power triangle. This is your outputs, your power usage, anything like that. And so basically here you have your power build, right? So then you could manually change it here using your mouse if that's what you so desire. You can use it by keybinds. So like F5, switches it to guns. F6 changes it to thrusters. And F7 does shields. And F8 resets it. And obviously advantages and disadvantages to having, when you're to full power to guns, your guns do a little bit more damage, they recharge quicker, you have higher capacitor, but then your shields and thrusters do not recover. Full power to shields, you actually get a bonus to your total shield pool. Of course, then in recovery, but then your guns don't recover as much or do as much damage, and your thrusters don't. And obviously thrusters, like these two, your thrusters recover significantly faster. And then you come over here, you have your heat output or your infrared output, or this is 2 different things. I don't know why they mean the same essentially, but your heat output, obviously, so that'll affect how well thermal lock-on missiles can have an effect on you. You have your EM signature, so electromagnetic signature. And that can be, of course, modulated by shutting your shields off, and then shutting off like your engines. And you see here now, it went from like 5,000 to 1,000. Your heat really with shutting your engines off should change, but obviously it doesn't. IR, that's a tricky one to change. But basically, these determine how your detection range overall on passive or active radar. right? And so then now if we fire our shields up, you see that our power usage goes up, and then we turn on our thrusters. Now, heaven forbid, we spool up our quantum. Now look, even little Pisces, we have a 12-kilometer detection radius when we're spooled up our quantum. So it's very important that you don't really run your quantum unless you absolutely have to. And it, of course, decays over time. And so then this here will tell you what you need to use, like what's required for your power usage, and how much total power usage you have. Now, you know, this used to be a thing. If you hit stealth, it would cut everything down. But ultimately right now it's a useless function. So then we come here to items. You can see your various components, their overall health. You can shut each individual component off and on, which will affect your overall power output. And if, for example, you have a major thruster imbalance or that kind of stuff, you can, and you know which one it is, you can literally shut this off, shut each individual thruster off to balance that torque imbalance. So that's all kind of advanced stuff that we can get to when push comes to shove. If we can, I haven't had to play with that, but we could definitely do a video on that if that's so what you wish. And moving over, we now have your ship status. So obviously, here's your ship silhouette. Red means bad, and as you take damage, that'll happen. This is your shields. Now, obviously, this kind of doubles over. It's got your EM ratings and your IR. Doesn't have heat, but this will indicate, and these will get thinner as your shield damage. Ooh, we're starting to come in a bit more of a sun, are we? Oh, we're moving. We're moving. I want to keep a bit of a scenic view for you guys. Anyways, where was I? And these will obviously diminish. Now, in case you didn't know, size 1 shields are a bubble, so it doesn't matter where you get hit, the shield will deplete. Size 2 shields, which will show differently, are front and back. So you can bias your shields front and back as well. That's a whole other entire video on its own, which if you do want to see that, make sure to leave a comment down below. And then yeah, and so then you could do that. You could put your shields more forward, more back if you're going a frontal assault. There's neat little things like you do this so that if you watch down at this screen down here, you move your ship and it's like an active display, which you could do that if that's what you wish, or you could lock it to a specific view, like front, back, side, top down, or bottom down, whichever you prefer. So then now we kind of come over here. Got our targeting screen. So your targeting screen will show you information such as distance to target. It's like it'll have a silhouette like this with your shields, with the hull status. And then when sub-targeting becomes a thing again, you can sub-target and it'll tell you what component you're sub-targeting. This is one you should always have up regardless. But it's important to note that if you don't have comm thing up and target, the communications, like when you're getting scanned, that kind of stuff will show up over your target screen. So people may spam you with calling and that kind of stuff while mid-combat and PvP. I know it is absolutely a dingy tactic, but it works. That's what some people do. So whenever possible, I always make sure I have comms open and a target. And that way there, it won't ever get overridden. Now we have over here our shields. So this is similar to our power, except it's just shields. And so as you take damage, these numbers will drop. And like I said, because it's a bubble shield, you know, anywhere you take a hit on size 1, the whole shield drops. And it'll show you when it's recharging, like how much power you're using. Obviously, you put full power to shields, things work a lot better, but 33% they don't. And then here is a specific screen for shields. And this screen here is specifically pertaining to your shield generator. It's heat, it's overheating, like, because if you do have a biased shield, especially full power, it will overheat, so that's something to keep in mind. And this one here doubles as another target one in the C8, but we'll use this as an opportunity to show you how to change MFDs. So we want to change our MFD. Yes, we can change them. You can change your look around your ship. You can modify it. And like I said, it stays as long as you have that instance of the ship. So when you go to claim a ship, it won't stick. You'll have to reset it. As of 322.1. Bear in mind, 322.1. So now we want to change it, right? We're in Arrow. It's only got 2 screens. We want to change our screen. We want to change our weapon loadout, whatever the case may be. So we hold F and then go to menu. And then you see here, we have our target status, which we've seen. We have our heat screen, which we've seen. Power screen, which we've seen. Shields, self status, and comms. But we haven't seen weapons yet, have we? So we're going to click on that one. And there, now it's our weapon screen. So you can only have 2 weapon groups, left click or right click in the game. Yeah, and then this will show you your missiles. And so if you want to shut off a specific weapon group, you can do so here very simply. Same thing with missiles. I don't know why you'd ever want to shut off missiles, but that's beside the point. Weapons groups I could see, but we're not too super concerned about that. So if we hit here, and now that shuts power off to our primary weapons group, it tells you how many weapons are on that group. So then now we come up over here from system to guns. So this will show you the weapons group and your gun loadout in its entirety. So this will show you your capacitor, how much energy it uses out of your power plant, how much heat it produces while it's running, wear and tear, health, and whether it's ballistic or energy. I don't know why that is showing as a shell cartridge, but these are energy weapons. And so it'll have the name, it'll have all that information, but the most importantly, if you want to have, like, say, distortions and repeaters, but you don't want them firing at the same time, you can simply click that. So then now group 0 is your left mouse click, and group 1 is your right mouse click, or whatever you've changed your keybinds to. And then all you do is you just click it again. There we go. And then now it's back to group 0. So that both will fire on the left click. And then if you have your missiles, here is where it will give out your information specifically to your missiles. And again, it'll say priority. So you have multiple missiles, you can have it as this is the primary one. And you says size 1 because this is all the C8R has is size 1 missiles. Currently, it's a stock loadout, so it has infrared missiles, so it will attempt to best lock onto heat trails. And there are different ones where they're proximities. There's ones that are direct impact. There are cluster missiles as well, the rattlers. Those are all different missile types that if you do want a video, I can cover those in a different video type. But you got to let me know in the comments because I need to know what you guys want to know. And lastly, how many do you have? And so then we can come back here, and then we come back to this screen here. So now that I threw all that at you, every ship has a different loadout. Every ship has a different HUD. Every ship has a different just general feel or aesthetic to it. So some ships will have more of these. Other ships will have less. I mean, it's up to you ultimately how you want to make these look, how you want to set them up. I find a lot of the starter ships have most of these, but like the Cylon, the Freelancers, all of that, they only have 2 or 3. So you got to pick and choose what is important to you in your play style and what you're doing. And obviously this is your radar here. Sometimes that's just like a flat 2D radar. This one here like will show you what up and down to you. But sometimes it's a flat 2D radar. That's not an MFD. You can't necessarily change that. But if you can change it, it will be in these options here to be able to change it to that. Well, after this lengthy explanation of MFDs, I hope you have a better understanding of them. They are completely at your disposal. They can stay at, like I said, with each specific individual instance of a ship. But that's it. That's just what they fall under, is that instance of that ship. So thank you for watching, everybody. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and drop a comment if you have a question. I do try to make these videos as compact as possible. But I know with something like this, there's a lot to explain, and I have had a few people ask about them. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.